What if embracing your dark side could unlock your true potential? Join me as I dive into the shadow and see if it can actually lead to massive personal growth. Hello, I'm Dr. RB. I'm a Jungian trained licensed psychologist in Florida and New York. If you're new here, it's a pleasure to meet you. Hit the subscribe and the bell button below. Today, we're going to explore a fascinating aspect of human psychology that's often misunderstood or ignored: the shadow. In our society, we're often taught to suppress or ignore the parts of ourselves that we deem negative or unacceptable. We put on a mask, showing our best qualities to the world. But what happens to those other parts of us? The anger, the jealousy, the selfishness, or even the gifts, yes, the positive, that we have a discomfort, or the wild, untamed aspects of our personality. These traits, they don't simply disappear. Instead, they become what Carl Jung called the shadow. This shadow contains all the parts of us that we've repressed, denied, or hidden away. And here's the problem: by constantly suppressing these aspects of ourselves, we're not only limiting our personal growth, but potentially we're creating internal conflicts that can manifest unexpectedly and often in unhealthy ways. But what if, instead of suppressing these traits or feelings, we chose to acknowledge and integrate them? This doesn't mean acting on every impulse, I'm not saying that, but rather understanding and accepting that these aspects are part of who we are. So, for example, let's consider anger. Many of us are taught that anger is always negative and should be suppressed. But anger, when understood and channeled correctly or in a different way, it can be a powerful force for change and self assertion. It can give us the courage to stand up for ourselves and fight against injustice. Or take jealousy. While it's often seen as purely negative, recognizing our jealousy can help us identify what we truly value and desire in life. It can motivate us to work harder and strive for personal improvement. Even traits like selfishness, when balanced and understood, can teach us about self-care and setting healthy boundaries. The key is not to let these traits and feelings control us, but to acknowledge them and understand their roots and integrate them into our conscious personality in a healthy way. Let me share a personal story that illustrates the power of embracing our shadow. Early in my career as a psychologist, I found myself struggling with an intense dislike of a particular client. Yes, this was a horrifying feeling for me because, after all, I was supposed to be compassionate and be professional and help people without judgment, right? I'm a psychologist after all. Instead of suppressing this feeling or beating myself up over it, I decided to explore it, which is what I was trained to do. Through self-reflection and through my own analysis, I realized that this client reminded me of parts of myself that I had long ago rejected and pushed into that back burner, into the shadow. By confronting this, I not only improved my relationship with this client, I also experienced significant personal growth. I became more self-aware, more empathetic, and ultimately a better psychotherapist. This experience taught me that our negative reactions often have more to do with our own unresolved issues than with others. Embracing our shadow isn't about indulging in our darkest impulses. It's really about acknowledging all parts of ourselves, understanding that they have an origin, they have a root, and integrating them in a healthy way. This leads to a greater self-awareness authenticity, and ultimately massive personal growth. Now it's your turn. I'd love to hear about your experiences with your own shadow if you're willing to share. Have you ever confronted a part of yourself that you previously rejected? Even if it's a positive side. Share your story in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like these on personal development and psychological insights. Until next time, this is Dr. RB, encouraging you all to embrace all parts of yourself, all aspects of who you are, so that you can continue on your journey towards growth.